Welcome to Decades of Horror, the 1980s.
Hello? Hello? I've got a message for you, and you're not going to like it. Pray for death.
This is episode 174, recorded February 3rd, 2021.
Gruesome Magazine.
Wow.
I am your host.
You guys didn't see that, did you? Oh my God.
Yeah, picked your nose. Yeah.
I'm so embarrassed now.
I am your host, Jeff Mohr. This podcast is about horror films released between 1980 and 1989. Each episode, my co-hosts, Bill Mulligan, Crystal Cleveland, and Chad Hunt, and I will tackle another classic or not so classic film from this radical, gory, influential, and gruesome decade.
Sound like you're full of Beatles.
Yeah.
I am. Joining me tonight is Crystal Cleveland, the living dead girl and co-host of the Gruesome Magazine podcast. Crystal, how are you?
I'm great.
Okay.
I don't know how I feel right now. I wanted to
frog in your throat.
I was like, I don't want to talk about it, or maybe I do, or maybe it's not going to come across right.
Okay.
I was trying to do that whole I love you, but I don't want to hear it. Maybe in 2 days, maybe in 2 weeks, or what? Never mind. I failed.
One of those. When I ask how you are, I don't really want to know.
Yeah.
Exactly. I should have said,
also
great,
joining
thanks.
us is Chad Hunt. Good. Chad Hunt, comic book artist and co-host of Decades of Horror, the classic era, and the 1970s. Chad, how's your throat?
My throat's fine. I'm getting ready to get nuts on a subatomic level.
Tachyon particle.
Mm-hmm.
The tachyons, Marty. The tachyons.
Anti-God. Okay.
Yeah.
And last but not least is Bill Mulligan, writer, director, and special effects guru and co-host of Decades of Horror, the 1970s, and all-around nice guy. Bill, how are you?
I'm fine. I was trying to figure out why Chad sounded like Torgo from Manos, the Hand of Fate, but
Yeah, he doesn't know what tachyons.
That's his real voice.
yeah. That's his. But yeah, I'm fine. You know, just living the life.
Living the dream. Yep.
Yeah.
How many cats with you tonight?
Just one. He better.
Okay.
He's already stuck his paw in my coffee, which is not stopping me from drinking it. I have no shame.
But wait a minute. Could you have a worm in your cat? And then oh wait, that's a different movie. Topic.
Worms. It's dumb.
Oh yeah, topic.
Oof.
So who picked this one?
Chad picked this one. And this one is Prince of Darkness, John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness. Released October 23rd, 1987. Directed by John Carpenter. Written by Martin Quatermass, the infamous Martin Quatermass.
Oh yeah, he should do
cast
more.
includes Donald Pleasance, Lisa Blunt, Jameson Parker, Victor Wong, and Susan Blanchard. In this film, a group of graduate students and scientists uncover an ancient canister in an abandoned church. But when they open the container, they inadvertently unleash a strange liquid and an evil force on all humanity.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What can I say?
Spooky.
That's scary.
It does. It sounds crazy. Yeah, this was done by Alive Films, which, as it turns out, was a 2-movie production company for John Carpenter, in which he did this one and
They Live.
Also, Larry Franco Productions and Haunted Machine Productions. I don't running out of that here. So yeah, the actual premiere was October 21st in 87, but the initial release date October 23rd. Also known in Germany as Die Fürsten der Dunkelheit. There's the Dunkelheits again.
Dunkelheit. What's Dunkelheit?
Basically means Prince of Darkness. The thing that's very strange to me is D is a feminine article It's like a feminine version of the. Der is the masculine version. So I don't know why the prince is Die Fittersten, but well.
I don't understand. The Germans can make butterfly sound scary, but the Prince of Darkness is Der Dunkelheit. That makes me giggle.
Dunkelheit sounds like something you dunk in your coffee.
Yeah, it's a donut.
Yeah.
I think it is.
It's or an accordion band. I don't know.
Austrian Danish or something.
Please welcome the Dunkelheits.
This was filmed in L.A. and partially in Long Beach. I'm sorry.
You're great.
Roughly.
This is hilarious. It'll be fine.
It took about 30 days to film this. The budget was estimated at $3 million, and gross USA is $14 million, with about $4.5 million on opening weekend. So
that doesn't sound like a lot of money, but that's 5 times what it costs. So somebody made a profit here.
Yeah.
Right.
I think if you can make money off your movie, you're winning.
Yes.
Well, so and now we're at the famous. There's not much here for taglines, but
no, disappointing.
Maybe we'll have Bill read the taglines this time, since Chad's
there's so few of them, and
schizophrenic, and his voice might turn.
I don't.
Hey,
I'm not even sure how to read this first one. Okay, but here it is. Where are you, Christ? What the hell does that mean?
Oh.
I'm over here. I'm over here, Bill.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Okay. So, all right. So they ditched that one and went with before man walked the earth. It slept for centuries. It is evil. It is real. It is awakening.
It's kind of generic, but it's better than the first.
Listen, it's better than where are you, Christ? Like
it should be like, where are you, Christ? Right?
Yeah.
Christ.
But it's like, where are you? Oh, there you are, Christ.
Yeah.
Well, there is we
things
do learn
Judas would say.
Christ is a human-like extraterrestrial. We do learn. Yeah.
Which is like one of the most mild revelations that they just tossed that one out there, and everyone's like, okay, yeah, that goes along with everything else that's happening. That's like the least crazy thing anyone's said so far, which is
tossed around in this movie.
Tells you something. Oh man, this movie's got more ideas than most movies have. Anything. Yeah.
In a good way.
Actually, you're right. Chad, this was your pick.
Yes.
So let's go with first impressions.
Oh, okay.
What did you first see?
I thought I was going to get reamed for it. Okay. Anyway, I usually do. But I saw this in the theater when it came out.
Wow.
And by this time, I was just a major John Carpenter fan. And I think he had done Starman and Big Trouble in Little China, which I'm also a huge fan of that one too. But this was supposed to be his big return to horror movies. And boy, when I tell you, when I heard the premise for this movie, and I read about it in Fangoria, I think, or one of the horror magazines. I was just flabbergasted by it. I had no inkling at the time of what quantum physics were, or matter, antimatter. Nor did I give a crap. Nor did I give a crap what those things were at the time. But as the years have gone, I've learned a little bit more about things. I've come to have a really, really deep appreciation for this movie and how well written it is and how smart it is. It's sort of a goofy premise, but at the same time, it's also an ingenious premise too. The whole thing was written so well, and when I saw Quatermass on the screen, written by Quatermass, already a Quatermass fan.
Yeah,
and so I went into it knowing that thinking, wow, this is a Quatermass movie. Basically, this is something that could be very easily be a Quatermass movie, and just amazed by it. And the more I watch it, the more I love it. anybody that's familiar with the principles of quantum physics and that kind of thing, and how it's I know what you mean, Crystal, but to use that in a horror film and make
mean
that,
before everyone else did,
right?
Because that's the big sticker that like fixes all plot holes.
Right.
Yeah. But to make that a part of this horror movie was just is an amazing thing. I don't think anybody had ever done it. I feel like it's an original. That's not me. An
That's
original.
the loudest cat I've ever heard.
But I just thought it was a very original idea, and it just made me just dig in that much more to be a Carpenter fan. And we'll talk about all the cool points and the cool stuff that happens in it, and stuff like that. But yeah, just knocked me on my feet from the very first, and it still does every time I watch it. So
Yes, we get a little Schrodinger's cat. We get a little Heisenberg certainty principle.
a cat's not dead until you look at it either. It only comes to life when we see it on screen there.
Yeah.
So, Crystal, how about you? When was the first time you saw Prince of Darkness?
And explain quantum physics to us, please.
Yes.
Or well. Oh boy.
Quantum mechanics.
That's actually or theoretical. Like, I mean, that's basically
If a tree falls in the wood, is it a cat?
Yeah.
Bill's cat.
Yeah.
That's a whole different theory.
That is true. So, okay, there's a lot to say about all that. I do think it's one of the first times that they really did kind of use that sort of stuff. They use it in sci-fi now all the time.
Right.
But at this point, I don't think that was something that anyone even considered or thought about. And I love how there's so much sexism and everything in this movie, but it's not too bad. I like she gets mad at it. Okay, so the first time I saw this movie was actually only like a few years ago. Because someone had mentioned it, and I was like, I hadn't seen it, so I had to go and take a gander at it. And then, of course, I watched it again last night. And, I mean, it's pretty much the same as it was a few years ago. It's not my favorite John Carpenter film. I can't lie. It's good, but it is not on par with, like what Chad mentioned. I mean, oh my God, Big Trouble in China, and then there's They Live. I mean, those are things of beauty. But I do like it. It's got this cheesy 80s feel, and it's fun, and it's a little bit silly, and the characters do dumb, silly things, and the effects are hit or miss, which I like too. And like I said, with the sexism thing, how he mentioned something and she's like, I'm gonna pout. The acting is tragic in a lot of places, okay? However, Alice Cooper does a phenomenal job as Alice Cooper, pretty much. So, I mean, I think that everyone should see this. This is a classic, for sure. And, I mean, the story is so cool.
Yeah.
I think that had this been made, I hate to say it because people are going to pan me for this, but I think this would be perfect for a remake. Not like They Live or something. Don't ever remake that. That's so good. But
Okay.
I don't know. I think this one could be better, is all I'm saying. I think it could be improved. Uh-oh. Everyone's going to hate me.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that imitation crickets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Phil Mulligan's next.
Oh, there I am.
Mulligan.
Oh.
Yeah.
I am going to disagree with Crystal a bit, although I would have agreed with her before watching the movie again. So here's a surprise to me. I've always thought well of this movie, having watched it maybe 2 or 3 times. And then I watched it again just a few days ago. I love this movie. And to a degree, I did not love it before. And I'm trying to figure out why.
Good.
I really don't know why. I don't know if it's one of those films because the story is so convoluted. But now that's in my mind. I get it. Maybe when I was watching it the first time, I was just trying, okay, where are we going with this? And the green thing is Satan, but he's trying to bring his son. He was the dad of Satan, but Satan's going, what the hell? And that no longer mattered anymore. I just sort of went with it. And I just got to appreciate the film on the technical level. And I got to say, this is one of the best looking films I've watched in the last year or so. It looked, maybe it's just the best. Oh my God, this looked fantastic on I had to watch it on a computer, but it looked really, really good. Now, this is not Carpenter's usual cinematographer, Dean Goodney. But this guy knocked it out of the park. This thing looks gorgeous. It's got some just great technically made. I think this may be John Carpenter's best score ever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's a huge part of this film is just how good the score is. And it makes me think blasphemous thoughts, like, as much as I love Morricone's score in The Thing, maybe we lost something by not having Carpenter do it. I think Morricone did a great Carpenter-esque score. And Carpenter, lately, he's been doing, I think, more music than anything else. And he really does have a gift. This film is fantastically intelligent. They're not just throwing these terms out for nothing. There's a lot of little things that I like about this film. And it hit me at the very beginning where we're introduced to Donald Pleasance. We all love him. We love the guy. He's up there with Peter Cushing. And Victor Wong. So these are two guys that were just told basically have been doing debates on the BBC. Presumably, although we don't know what it was about, I assume it was religion versus science. And these guys meet each other. And maybe it's just the 2021 talking here, but the fact that these two guys who are professional and philosophical adversaries greet each other like old friends, shaking each other's hands, but more clasping each other. I mean, they're happy to see each other. They respect each other. Boy, that's the sort of thing we don't see too much anymore, and I miss it. That just sets the whole thing going. The folks were kind of fodderish. I mean, I didn't really give a rat's patootie about too many of the grad students, who were all a little too old to be grad students anyway. But they looked nice. They were pleasant. They weren't beauty queens or GQ stars. They looked like they could be real. I really like this. I was just surprised how much I appreciated this movie. Now, is it as good as The Thing? No, nothing's as good as The Thing. It's not Carpenter's best movie, but I could see where there's more than a few people out there who would consider this one of their favorite Carpenter films. That it grows on you, apparently. And this makes me want to rewatch In the Mouth of Madness, which I just saw for the first time a few months back. And I had kind of the same reaction to that I did the first time I watched this. I didn't really know where it was going. So I think maybe that took me out of appreciating the film. Maybe I tend to try to outsmart films. I need to just let it go and wash over me. Maybe that's why I do enjoy a lot of these movies the second time. I'm not trying to be Mr. Screenwriter and anticipate where the film is going. Once I know where it's going, I've got a lot to think about myself here. But I had a good time watching this, and I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
Yay.
I agree with what you said. Because I had a similar experience. I saw this in the theater originally, and I remember thinking, what the F? I'm like, what the hell did I just watch? I love the green twirling stuff, the liquid. And I love there's some pretty cool gore in there. It's simple, but it's pretty cool. But this time around, I liked it a whole lot more, and I think I'm in the same boat as Bill, because I watched it, and then I actually listened to Carpenter's commentary. He's with he's talking about it with who's the guy that plays Dr. Leahy, Peter Jason, and they're just chatting, having a good time, and ribbing each other and stuff like that, and it's interesting. And a lot of times they ask Carpenter. Peter Jason's asking Carpenter, what does that mean? How does that work? What is that? And Carpenter's like, I don't know. I don't know.
I just wrote it.
Computer, what's this writing here? Oh, I just put stuff in there I thought would sound weird, So, but
why are you bothering me for? Go talk to Martin Quatermass,
Yeah, well, and then they joked about that too. So, and in watching it, the second time or third time, it really does kind of make a little bit of sense if you listen to what the characters are saying. I tended to kind of zone out, I think, the first time and just go, this is a bunch of scientific mumbo jumbo, but there is some sort of thread there, that ties things together at some point. And not only do we have this Satan's father puts him in a green cage, and then I guess there's a new baby coming out, and that's Susan Blanchard. That's Satan's.
Well, actually, the green fluid takes over
It-
her and is the embodiment of Satan, because they were saying that he needs a host. So she became the host of literally Satan.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she absorbed it.
But at another point, they call it anti-God as opposed to Satan.
Mhm.
It's just
Well, I think the father is anti-God. Is the anti?
Okay. So Satan is like Jesus to God. Satan is to the anti-God.
Exactly. Yeah.
Makes sense.
and then not only that, but we also get broadcasts from the future.
Which is my favorite part.
He is
Yes.
awesome.
Tachyon particles that
Travel faster than light. Yeah.
and are telling them they have to save the world. I guess they got to be at this spot. So that was cool too. At first, when you're, I think the first time I watched it, I didn't get any of that. I think I got the devil something. Got this book. So, but I enjoyed it a lot more this time, and I enjoyed most of the characters. A couple of them are a little overwrought or a little overexcitable or something.
You're talking about the supposedly funny Asian guy who's totally not funny at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Dennis Dunn, who's not a bad actor. I don't know what
He's not a bad actor. But that was that wasn't a great character. I don't know. He's one of those guys who's supposed to be funny. That's why everyone puts up with him, but he's not funny. So I don't know why anybody puts up with him.
Right.
Cracking lame jokes.
We could talk about some of these characters later, but I just enjoyed the hell out of it. That moved way up on my list of 80s movies. And Bill's right; it's beautiful. I mean, anyway, and it is that guy. Actually, I think it's his first.
What was
job
his
as
name?
a photographer.
Mark something.
Really?
Gary
That was his
Kibbe.
first job?
Yeah, well, not his first job, but his first film. I think.
Carpenter.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, it's his first film with Carpenter, but I think it's his first film.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
You're right.
Okay.
Oh, that's a hell of a, maybe we're seeing, because I'm looking at some of the other films he did. He did some fine films, but this is the one that really just jumps out at me as just looking gorgeous. Maybe when it's your first film, you really want to show what you're capable of. And Carpenter's really big on widescreen, using that Panavision and everything, which just gives this such an 80s look.
Yeah.
More than when people try to make an 80s film, a lot of times they do things that they think make it look like the 80s. They do the color and they put scratches on the film. It's this lens. It's the way it looks. It gives everything, because it's such a wide angle. It distorts things even when they're normal. Then when things start getting crazy, there's a lot of distortion and playing with depth of field and all that I think just works marvelously well. When you think about it, this whole film practically takes place in a very cramped set, just a few rooms here and there. But they're able to get a lot out of it. It didn't have that low budget. We're filming in a shack feeling. So yeah,
And it had sort of a Dean Cundy-ish feel to it. So I don't know if he was trying to emulate that
why not?
His previous films, but it sort of had a Dean Cundy feel to it. To me, the cinematography did. Just amazing looking, and yeah, Carpenter loves that wide lens.
Well, he was very complimentary of Kibbe's work and said he did an amazing job. And I like too what you said about the sets, because that was the other thing they were talking about, $3 million being a pretty low budget, and that it really helps when you're in one or two sets.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to travel. You don't have to dress different places. And you do have, you've got the basement, and then you've got the other building. I think we're actually different locations, I believe.
And the set design is fantastic. I mean, the I don't know if we have a picture of it, but the set with the green thing there, beautifully lit. Now, part of my brain, this is the part of my brain I got to shut off when I'm watching these things, is thinking, so there's only one old priest left alive. Is his only job to light candles? because they go into this
I know there's
abandoned
so
church
many.
and there's a million candles. It would take your
Yeah.
entire, there we go. It would take all your day just to keep lighting and replacing candles.
But
So-
look
Yeah.
at that! Look at that background. The crosses on the wall.
Oh,
and
God, it's gorgeous.
man, it's incredible. It's incredible.
And I'm not sure if we have one of those. Let's take a look at a couple of these here as something to talk about. But there's a wide variety of posters. We have this one, which I'll be honest with you,
Terrible.
I've always liked that, but I got no idea what it means. You know, there's
I mean, it's a cool poster, but it tells you nothing about the movie, and I don't know what it's supposed to be showing. So it's good and it's bad at the same time.
That's kind of a cool one. Oh, and speaking of with,
it's for us Donald Pleasance fans for sure.
You know, the stuff up there, the crescent moon and the sun, those skies.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see who did those?
Mm-mm.
Jim Danforth.
Jim Danforth. I was just going to say, was it Jim Danforth? Because when Matt Effects, he's the man. Yeah.
And we do name one of the characters that's named Danforth. I don't know if that's got any
why not?
Or not. But anyway, and then this, I believe, is the cover of the Scream.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, that's a
Scream Factory Blu-ray. So
Donald Pleasance front and center.
And we do know, so we've got Carpenter. So how can you tell? Is there something about this film that you can tell makes it a Carpenter film besides the music?
Well, like we were saying, the cinematography is it's that beautiful cinematography, and there's a cadence to the way he sets up shots. To me, a certain I don't know how to say it. It's a language I guess is the easiest way I can explain it. Of how he sets up shots and overall how it looks, even when you don't see the cinematography or hear the soundtrack. There's just something about the way he builds the tension. It's his signature, and the dread, the sense of dread. But he's the one of the masters of suspense, I think, the way he builds that suspense throughout the whole film until it just builds and builds and builds.
You know, there's something else that literally just occurred to me. Carpenter really likes faces. Mm-hmm. You know, how many times in a Carpenter film do we get an iconic shot that's just the character looking at the camera or looking just off the camera, and we have to read what's going on in their expressions? When you think of, you sit back, you think of The Thing, other than the stuff with The Thing, it's the faces of these characters registering the horror that they're looking right past us into. And this one has some of those last shots where the character is just staring at the mirror and reaching in. And I gotta say, man, he anticipated Inception way ahead of his time. Ending the movie literally before he touches the mirror and answers the question in our head, is it real or is it Memorex? I mean, we don't know, and we're never going to know. He cuts right before it gets there. Brilliant. I didn't really appreciate it at the time. I was like, I wanted to know. Now I realize, there's a lot to be said for not knowing. Giving it away.
Well, this is another one that's got like 3 endings, and this time it works, right? I mean, we were complaining on 70s about Asylum of Satan, but in this one, they could have just ended it as showing that video of her coming out.
Yeah, that would have been the.
And then we go back to he's sleeping and he wakes up and has a night. He wakes up twice, right? So.
Right. We get the shot. We get the Carrie ending, and then and that's. I mean, that is just a killer ending because we don't know. Part of it is thinking, oh, they did all this to change the future, and they really didn't change anything.
And he has
made it worse. We don't know.
He has a talent for picking actors that can tell a story with just their face.
Yeah.
Their facial expressions and like if you watched The Thing and did not have any dialogue, you could tell what was going on without him saying a word.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So I think another characteristic, at least in a lot of his films, are kind of this ensemble cast too. And it's and he makes them enough. They're enough different looking and they're enough different in function that it's not a problem keeping them straight, I guess.
Right.
All right.
And who doesn't love Victor
Carpenter? Wong? Yeah. Well, I think he also does stuff with. I feel like there's not as many cuts between scenes. I feel like there's more, like in conversations, there's a lot more of camera tracking and somebody coming into screen to be involved than there is in shooting back and forth of people having a conversation. Anyway, well, since you mentioned Victor Wong, he is awesome in this, I think.
There's one point in there when he took the Sprite can and he was shaking it up, and I was like, he's going to pull a 6 demon bag thing from, or something. I was like, what's he going to do shaking up a soda?
It is hard to see him in anything and not think of Big Trouble in Little China because he was just so wonderful in that. And that's one of those roles that follows you forever. And I liked him in this. I'm a little disappointed that he kind of disappeared toward the end. I felt like he should have been a bigger, at least an equal force with Donald Pleasance in fighting this evil. The whole idea of the man of God and the man of science working together. I thought, I would have been perfectly happy if these guys had been the main stars of this film and the grad students were just there to die.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I'm as old as they are, if not older. So, but
pretty much. Yeah.
Well, the grad students kind of came off as being kind of douchey. And the relationship between the guy and the girl, was kind of tired.
Between Jameson Parker and Lisa Blunt. The dialogue was pretty tired between them.
Yeah. I was like,
what's going on? I talk numbers and you're all romantic, and then
where do you want to eat? I don't know. Where do you want to eat?
Yeah.
Hey, it was just a joke. Hey, I'm a card carrying what does he call?
Confirmed sexist.
Sexist.
That's a really good opening line, guys. Try that one. See how far it goes.
I was only joking, he says. So, Victor Wong, have any of you guys seen these Three Ninja movies?
Is that the one with the kids? The little ninja kids?
Oh, yeah.
There's like 4 of those, and he plays the grandfather in all 4 of them.
Of course he does. Look at him.
He was in The Golden Child with Eddie Murphy, too.
Yeah. I loved that movie.
Love it. He was in Tremors.
Oh, Tremors, yeah.
He was fun in that.
He didn't really start acting till after he was 50.
Well, I think Samuel L. Jackson got his first movie role at like 46.
Yeah.
Did he? Mm-hmm. Well, so this is I'm going to read you this little bit of trivia for him, just because I was reading it and I was like, oh no, they're making this up. He was, make sure I find the right one. All right. Among his many journeys in life, he was, at varying stages, a teenage Christian evangelist, a Protestant minister in training, a Zen Buddhist, a visual artist, a poet, a Beat Generation luminary, a pioneering photographer, and broadcast journalist, and a comedian and a Hollywood actor.
Wow!
So he was like he was a television journalist for the public television station in San Francisco, like late 60s, early 70s.
That's a life.
Before he actually got into. So I was just like, this guy, he's just he did lots of stuff.
Yeah,
lots of stuff.
I did.
He would have been fun to talk to.
Yes, he would be, and unfortunately, he passed away about 20 years ago, 2001.
Yeah, too soon.
When did Donald? Donald passed away 26 years ago, yesterday, I think. Yeah.
Let's talk about Mr. Pleasance.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy is, I don't know what it is, but he could say anything he wants to, and I believe it.
He could say the silliest stuff coming out of his mouth, and it's like,
he's pure evil.
Sounds ridiculous, but Donald Pleasance is saying it. I'm going to give it credence.
Yeah. And well, we talked about him in Escape from New York as well. But he's a perfect one to have in this because he's got that force of nature type personality.
Yeah.
Any scenes you liked in particular about Donald or Pleasance?
I really like the ending. Spoiler alert, but the ending where I guess he kind of at the time seems like he saved the world, and he's so proud of himself and everything. It's like you just condemned the heroine to doom here. Didn't even make an effort to try to yank her out of that mirror, but we stopped him, we did it, yay, our team. And it's like you cowered there for a while, hiding in the corner, and then threw an axe, pretty good one-handed throw, and so great, yay us. But he doesn't even stop to is like, oh, I'm gonna bow my head and shed a tear for all of the dead. It's just like self high five, yeah. In your face, science man. Religion wins again.
Yeah, it did seem like when they were working together for most of the film, and then at the end, he's like, "Yeah, we won.
Yep,
my side won."
Yeah,
He does. Yeah, Victor Wong
here for God
disappears. I'm sure this is who you're actually waiting for to talk about. Alice Cooper.
Did Alice Cooper have all of his blood drained from his body in preparation of this role? I mean. Look at him. He is cadaverous.
He's pretty pale anyway, though, really.
Yeah, I think this was during the time when he wasn't a born-again Christian, so he was probably under the influence of some sort of substance at the time. There was a time there when he really did look like a walking skeleton. Really? I mean, he looks healthy here compared to some of the pictures I've seen of him.
How did he end up getting cast in this?
He's Alice Cooper.
I think right. He didn't no makeup. We don't need makeup for this guy. But
does he even have a line in this movie?
I don't think he does. Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
I think his manager had something to do with producing the movie or something. Or
there's I got two different things. Yes, manager is one of the producers. Is it Shep Gordon? Is that?
Yeah, and Cooper was a big fan of horror movie effects and stuff like that, so he just wanted to show up on set to watch one of the effects. Oh,
cool! Well, good.
So Carpenter said, "Hey, how about you're here? I'll give you a part." Carpenter saw him use that gag with stabbing somebody with the bike on stage, so he sort of used that same prop even in the movie.
That's awesome!
That's awesome. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah. So how does that work?
Yeah, I think it's like one of those fake knives where you push it in and the spring pushes it in. I think.
Right. I thought you just got like an extra that nobody didn't have a family and no one really cared about, and just stick it right through them.
Yeah, you don't have to pay him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess apparently it was a gag he used in his act, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw a couple different stories. It was one of them was his he came on set to watch, and then Carpenter asked him if he wanted a part, and he could have a part. That seemed to be the trade-off. You can have a part if we get to use your gag there to kill somebody off.
I remember some people being disappointed that they thought he had a big role in this movie, and they went to see it, and it's really more of a cameo than anything else.
Well, he's on the poster for a lot of the posters too, and the DVD covers, I think, too.
Well, he's also one of the creepiest things in the movie. I mean, dang, he's scarier looking than the flayed girl face. But and thank God, this is the difference between Carpenter and some of the schlock guys who make movies. You got Alice Cooper in your movie about the devil and a green thing, and they didn't feel obligated to have him like use lines like "Welcome to my nightmare," wink.
I know.
That kind of nonsense that just is like nails on a chalkboard.
They were playing his song "Prince of Darkness" on the earphones when the guy got killed.
Well, that's okay.
So
that's okay. Yeah,
that was cool.
No problem there.
Mm-hmm.
So here we have Lisa Blount. So this is who you were talking about, right?
Way to go, Paula. Way to go.
The relationship and the guy with Brian Marsh, James Parker.
Yeah.
Officer
She's cute, though.
She was an officer.
And And I just have to be honest with you, her acting is super bad in this. It's just bad. It's so bad. I didn't believe anything she said. Not a single thing she said.
Well, I didn't mind her that much, but I got a thing for redheads, as you know. But I liked her.
I do like that.
Yeah, I didn't think the character was given a whole lot, and her heroics at the end do sort of come out of nowhere.
I did like her toward the end, but I just maybe it's the relationship between her. I just hated this whole thing.
Yeah.
This was my least part of the film, and
yeah,
it just bugged me. I don't know. Maybe that's just transferring on.
Yeah.
There was
They
something
did
though
meet
about
cute.
when
They meant
before
creepy.
she ran into the room, she looked and saw what was going on, and she was so horrified she started crying and started.
Yes.
That was a good scene for her.
Mhm.
She didn't have to
I
say
liked
anything.
her toward the end.
Right.
Yeah,
Like
right.
but maybe it's because Douchey McDoucherson wasn't.
Yeah, and when she's not in the scene with
You know?
him, I think she did okay.
I was just like, ugh.
Yeah.
That
And
was
I'm
just the
glad-
most contrived movie
Yeah.
relationship ever.
I'm glad that the ending, the new creepy ending from the future features her, because if it had just been like the other woman, the blonde one, this one it's like, oh my god, so she's been corrupted. I mean, what happened to her after she goes into the mirror?
Right,
What
right.
you know, that gives you a real sense of awfulness there.
Yeah.
Or maybe she's just
She was
mad at
good.
everybody because they didn't come to get her.
Well, I don't know. I'm confused. I mean, it is a little confusing. I kind of assumed that she took the anti-Christ kind of thing. I don't know.
That's what I
'cause
got.
you know-
too.
What I don't understand though is why the son could come back, but he had to be back to be able to bring the father. I think that's super. Why? Why couldn't the father just do the same thing as he was?
The anti-God works in mysterious ways.
You know,
I
that's
don't know.
Well, that's
father.
that's part of the fun of this film is that
It's ambiguous in a lot of spots.
yeah. The characters don't know what's going on, neither do we, and that's good. I'm glad there wasn't the usual thing where some savant comes out. It's like, I figured it all out. The whole mystery, it all fits together like this, and you're like, no, we're dealing with a quantum world. The greatest minds on Earth haven't been able to agree on anything with quantum. So why should these people, who are not the best and the brightest, they just happen to be the priest who was there when the first guy died, and he happens to have a friend who's a scientist, but we don't think he's necessarily the greatest scientist on Earth. He just happens to be his best scientist buddy.
Right.
And these grad students were not, Rhodes scholars. They just happened to be taking the class.
Mm-hmm.
So these
they didn't know what they were in for either. And then once they
No.
were in there, they were there. They couldn't leave. So they were having to deal with a situation way beyond their ability to understand.
So these
And
people were all
apparently, none of them know how to look for anybody.
no.
Okay, another scene that bothered me. It was when the guy comes in. He's like, "Have you seen?" Oh gosh, I'm horrible with the names. So and so, and he's like, "Yeah, I just saw her down the hall." The guy walks out, like literally, like looks down the hall, and then he comes like, he's like, "What? Are you teasing me? Are you joking, bitch? Go down the hall and look in those rooms.
And
why don't you look for her?"
He just came in that door, right? He just
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't say she was just standing in the hallway like a statue. I saw her in the hallway. Don't come back and call me a liar.
That's what I was like. Oh no, that is unacceptable.
Well,
There's
she was
some
in
dumb
Blind
moves.
Fury with Rutger Hauer.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I'd have to check that one out. And apparently,
My other favorite dumb move in the movie was when they lower Mr. Pornstache out the window, knowing that all the homeless zombies are there waiting for him, and then somehow they're surprised when the homeless zombies start walking toward him. He's like, whoa, I did not see this. Help me back in. Like, what did you think they were going to do? Just stand there and stare as you waltz
I thought it was sort of a test. Let's see what they do.
I know, right? Oh my God, I thought I was going to get away.
Well, unfortunately, Lisa Blount passed away when she was 53 from a blood disorder like 10 years ago.
She is the woman from Officer and a Gentleman, right?
Yes.
The friend, yeah. Okay, at the end.
Yep.
That's why I said, way to go, Paula, way to go.
Yeah.
That's
totally missed that.
She's kind of got that
Yeah,
face that, you know, she's not going to be necessarily the star of the movie, but she'll be the best friend or the first victim or the best friend's victim. You know. Yeah.
Well, so does Parker
she's-
Stevenson.
Yeah, I'm sorry she's not around anymore. It's a shame.
Yeah, that's depressing.
Yeah, he's a lot better with his brother.
Simon and
Well,
Simon.
let's talk about Jameson Parker.
Oh, is that
not
what
Parker
that guy is
Stevenson,
from?
but,
Yeah, he's from
Yeah.
Simon and Simon.
I was like, God, he looks so. That mustache
is.
is
Oh,
AJ.
that is a
Thick.
honcho mustache there. Yeah.
thick.
Now- Okay, I'm asking, did anybody else think the mustache was uneven? Nobody else
it
noticed?
looked
No,
like it was moving around like an instrument.
Yeah.
Well, it was like the one
caterpillar.
side was way, it was
Mhm.
like a half inch longer down the one side.
guess
And
I
it was like
wasn't
that the whole
looking that
movie. I
hard.
thought, was that some weird 80s style that I missed?
It's really too bad that we all have ADHD and just focus on crap like
Right.
that when we watch these.
Like I did not. I totally wasn't looking because I'm trying to look at that photo.
It does
Yeah,
look like it's kind of sticking out more on one side or something.
Well,
I'm
I don't know.
telling you,
Listen,
you can
I'm
add
the
his
only
face
one that I
there.
have trouble keeping this thing even. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
I just
Well,
saw
that's
every.
actually why I have a goatee, that I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Mm.
You know, is that why everybody has a goatee?
I don't have a goatee, so I
No,
don't know.
you do not.
I was going to
know.
say, Crystal. I
good.
don't know about Crystal.
Yeah, not my favorite actor. He
It
didn't.
does kind of
He
look.
didn't do anything bad, but he wasn't. He was just kind of there. It seemed like to me.
Yeah, he wasn't great. He wasn't terrible, but I did like the ending. I thought
Yeah.
thought he actually did a pretty good job of, you know, reaching out and doing what you're never supposed to do, which is stare right at the camera. But it worked, and yeah, I really dug that ending.
And is it me or did
Oh,
it
yeah.
look like there was a devil's face in the picture behind him on the wall as he's reaching toward that middle picture there? That picture on the wall, it looked like I think it was a picture of the supernova, but
Okay.
it actually had two like sparkles for eyes and the shape of a devil's face
Oh, I got to watch it again now.
as he's walking, to touch the mirror.
Wow, we really are ADHD, aren't
Yeah, we are, because that's
Yeah.
the kind of crap I focus on.
Looking for clues in the wallpaper.
Ooh, look at his hair. He needs to fix that. It's just messy.
Whatever
We
happened
wanna
to
see
that guy?
what poster was
He
behind.
retired. He was actually doing pretty well, and
Trying to
just
think of who else.
at some point just stopped working, apparently by choice. So
Who's that?
Jason.
I was asking.
He
what happened to
looked
him.
like he worked till he was about 60 and then stopped. You know.
Yeah.
I don't.
He was active up until 2009.
Wow.
Susan Blanchard. Now, I don't know about you, but I love this makeup. I'm.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
It was-
it's especially toward the end when the skin is looking all runny and
Yeah.
drippy, which I'm thinking is probably gelatin, but it's a really cool effect.
And those huge eyes and the smile, it just added to the creepiness of it.
To me, the hair is what really makes it work.
I know.
I
She
mean,
looks
it's
like
ridiculous.
It does give it it's like Cindy
Well-
Brady's gone bad.
Right.
Well, and she's great with her eyes too. I mean,
Yeah.
Yes.
and then she, I really like. She didn't play it with this like resonant, artificial evil voice. She just went. She was laughing. I just thought
Yeah.
that was great. I don't think you see that as much, or I don't.
But when I first saw that, man, that scared the living crap out of me. When she looked over and the bed moved, and then it just scared me to death. The whole movie was scary. And it's still, when you get down to it and think about everything that's going on, it's a scary movie.
No hope.
She had seemed to get
Mhm.
into failed TV series, is what it kind of seems like. She was in a lot of new TVs. Chad, you ever see Mr. T and Tina?
Oh my God.
Oh no, I don't want to.
With Pat Morita. Not Mr. T, Mr. T, but Pat Morita.
Yeah, I don't want to say that I saw it.
That was right after Pink Lady and Jeff, I think.
10 Speed and Brown Shoe.
So like, yeah, 6 episodes of that. She was Tina, Mr. T and Tina.
Yeah. I do remember that. Though.
Yeah, and she was in something called Beacon Hill for 11 episodes, soap opera about rich family.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe
a Dallas ripoff.
And there was another one I saw there. Oh, Young Maverick. 8 episodes of that, and that was like a 9-episode series.
As in young James Garner Maverick character?
I think so.
Yeah, and it was supposed to, I can't remember if it was supposed to be a son. It was Charles Frank. Harvard-educated Ben Maverick was Brett Maverick's cousin. So he's just the younger one, I guess.
But she's also got a small role in They Live, so I guess Carpenter liked it.
Oh.
That is something else that marks a Carpenter movie, is that he does go back to the same well for actors.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, he claimed that she loved being in this movie because she hadn't, everything she'd done before then was sort of sitcom type stuff or the sweet innocent character, the look that she had, right?
Yeah.
And she does great in this.
It does seem like she had fun with it. So
Yeah,
I
it does.
believe what he said for sure. It's like, she's,
Yeah, I don't know. I was a little freaked out by the swelling belly thing. I couldn't figure that out. I was
I thought she
expecting
was
something to
pregnant at
burst out.
first.
I thought so too.
I thought it was going to be,
she
she was going to give birth to, that's what I thought it was going to be. But yeah, then it just went down. I'm like, okay.
So I wish I knew more about this stuff, but this whole Mercury special effects, he claims that he got it off of equipment there, like hoist.
What?
The manual roller hoists that were filled with had Mercury as a counterweight or something.
God, no! Oh,
there was
I
a
hope
hoist
that's
in the
not
train
true.
that they took Mercury out of and used it, and
fake arms though. Fake arms going into it.
Fake arms.
Oh,
Nobody
okay.
actually.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't even want to be in the same room with liquid mercury fumes.
No, he said that probably wasn't all that smart, but
it is. Listen, Mercury is the coolest stuff on earth. So when I was a kid, we didn't know or didn't care, and we played with Mercury in science
open
lab.
thermometers or something.
Yeah.
My God, it's so awful, but it's so cool. If you ever, it's heavy as crap, and you can't sink in it. Steel floats in it. It's amazing stuff, and pretty and beautiful, and you can see why ancient people thought that it gave life, because it has that, and of course it's horrible poison. Way to go, ancient people. So
that building was probably full of lead and asbestos and everything too.
Oh yeah, amazing. Any of the cast is still alive.
Yeah, so they used prosthetics to stick through there. But Crystal,
that's a lot of mercury though.
Crystal, I thought of you when
they said prosthetics, they stick in their butt or something. Is that what you?
What?
No. So
were we talking about that? What did I miss something?
I hope so.
When we reviewed on Gruesome Magazine, we reviewed The Queen of Black Magic.
Yes.
New Asian film that's a remake of an older film. But anyway,
well, now I got to watch that.
There's a place where the woman's head gets ripped off, and she goes over, picks it up, puts it back on, and Crystal was rightly kind of pointing out that why is everybody just standing there watching her walk over and pick up her head?
And she was the villain. She's this evil
and here
witch.
we are again, he-headed woman.
Just gonna go ahead and watch her do her business and mess you up again,
put it back on.
Yeah.
So the same thing happens in this one.
Yeah.
Man, I would have chopped her up into so many pieces she wouldn't have had time to.
Yeah, it's like, what are you guys doing? Letting her reach it? Just kick her. Just kick her.
Double tap.
Yeah, that Mercury is so cool though, because when the hand is reaching for it, it looks for everything like a mirror.
Yeah.
And then second her fingers touch it, you see ripples. And,
it is cool.
And
but
then
don't play with this stuff at home, kids.
No.
The other side was shot in a swimming pool that they had all the lights turned off and stuff. Just like I don't know how they did this light source.
They don't still put mercury in thermometers, do they?
I never heard of it. No, I never heard of them putting them in cranes and hoists and stuff. That seems like
It's-
a dumb thing to use for
Well,
I don't
countermeasures.
think they
Well-
even sell those kind of thermometers,
No,
do
They
they?
don't. No, they probably
Yeah.
don't.
Too many kids bit down on them and stuff. But mercury was used as a lubricant, like the library, the lighthouse of Alexandria. They would put mercury like under the things to turn it. I mean, it's just got marvelous properties. You can see why people have just loved it throughout time. It just didn't love us back, unfortunately, and nobody knew that until way too late.
I swear, when I was a kid, I had one of those little tilty maze things. You try to get the ball to roll around, but it had a little bit of mercury in it.
You know what? I believe that is jogging a memory for myself as well. Horrible toys from our childhood. Yes,
That could kill you.
With
Oh my
lead
God.
paint.
When we were kids, you could get a chemistry set. Yeah, you get a chemistry set that could legitimately kill the neighborhood. With
Oh,
little warning.
yeah.
Cyanide, do not put in mouth. Nowadays, you get a chemistry set, and it's got like salt, water, and different color salt. They've made it so safe that you can't do anything fun at all.
Mm.
Well, so like in Fallout, when you play Fallout, when you pick up the kids' games, like this Blast Radius board game and stuff, when you dismantle it, it has nuclear waste. It's actually really funny.
That's cool.
And lead
Yeah.
and nuclear. Sorry, I just think that's hilarious.
And we liked it that way.
And we ate the paint chips
That's right.
Yeah.
Toughened you up.
and liked it.
Nowadays, kids, oh, I don't want brain damage. I'm not going to eat the paint chips. Flippity flappity flu.
What movie are we talking about again?
And
Darkness.
this,
Prince of Darkness.
I don't know what this is, but this was the transmission from the future,
Yep.
I think. And then apparently, did she end up in the future, or what's the message here?
She
Well,
she was trapped there.
Or is this
Yeah.
a film of her trapped in? I thought she was sort of like trapped in hell, sort of. Some.
Well, she's
the
trapped wherever
antimatter
anti-God
dimension.
is. Yeah.
I've read some interpretations of this that they didn't change anything and that everything happened exactly the way it is. But I don't think the first two shots are from the original transmissions, where it looks to me like a male figure coming out.
It is.
Right.
That's actually the fellow with the tourniquet around his neck that tried to stab himself in the neck. That's
Oh,
actually
really?
him. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Interesting.
Oh, they used him for that.
For the
Is
for the ones where you
Yeah.
couldn't see the face. Yeah.
Huh.
But what I got from it is this takes place in the future.
Yes.
So when he goes to touch the mirror, he touches the mirror somehow and messes everything up again. That's what I don't know. That's what.
Oh, what I got is she stopped it from being him.
Yeah, but which stops nothing. It just
Coming
gave us
out.
a new
It just-
new
yeah.
soul to take its
Yeah.
place, and that it was
Yeah.
all for nothing. But we don't know. We're assuming that she's a
don't.
malevolent figure. She kind of looks scary,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
you get the impression whatever happens next, it's not going to be good. But the idea that, and I guess that was Carpenter's voice,
Yeah.
by the way, given the transmission, the idea that people from the
Oh.
future and we don't have the technology to actually go back in time, but we can send it back into your dreams. It's like, well, okay, you've done pretty well in the far flung year of 1999. Where's my flying car?
He said the way they shot that was just super close ups on a television.
Yeah.
You see the little lines.
There you go. Simple but effective. That's the way to go.
Smart.
Yeah, that is smart.
That's
There was another
thinking on
one.
your feet with a low budget and having to think your way out of things to make things happen and make things look good. Carpenter was really good at that.
Yeah. This Peter Jason he was just peppering him with questions on how'd you do that? How did you do that? And he didn't seem to be able to get the idea of shooting the green fluid going up, that you shot that upside down or ran it backwards, however you or reversed it, whichever way you used it.
Listen. I can't tell you how many times I've been on a set or something and people come up with, there's like such an obvious, easy way to do this, but they're like, okay, we're going to swing the sledgehammer, or we're going to stop right before we hit him in the face for real. I'm like, how about this? Hey, let me just throw this out there. I don't want to be that guy, but how about you put the sledgehammer near their face and you film them pulling back, and then you reverse the shot so it looks like, I'm like, that's ingenious. I'm like, it really isn't. It's really pretty damn obvious, but okay, I'll take ingenious.
So the guy that
sometimes
played
simple things
Wyndham,
work.
the guy that played Wyndham, the bug guy, was actually a special effects guy.
Oh, good for him.
Phil, God, what was his name? Grassmere.
Okay.
And he said it was weird. He felt there's a little short along with the disc that he talks about it. He said it was weird. They were just talking about doing some gag, and Carpenter goes, "Hey, you ever acted before? I could use you. You could do this one part, you know." And so they use him, and then he says, I was scared to death. I was scared to hell I was going to forget my lines. I wasn't going to say them right. I wasn't going to do this. I wasn't going to
I think he did well,
I
too.
thought it was fine, yeah.
He ends up with the most memorable line in the movie.
Yeah, and he said, in the end, I'm the guy that ends up on the trailer that everybody knows the line of. I'm not even an actor.
That's pretty cool. So that was totally accidental. It wasn't one of those cases where the makeup guy builds a monster costume on his own body, and then when it's time to cast the monster, it's like, well, I know one guy that it fits perfectly, just saying.
Yeah.
Well, and according to him, the chamber, which I'm just going to throw up here, even though it covers everybody, was filled with this fluid, and according to him, they had like plexiglass propellers inside, and that it, when it was filled up, it weighed like 1,500 pounds. He said it was harder than hell to move.
Wow.
So that was real fluid.
According to him, I mean, I didn't hear.
See, I thought it was just
real.
like cloth or something spinning with a light behind it, but which maybe
it doesn't look real.
Maybe it's one of those myths they wanted to, I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you
It's
wonder.
cool.
I like Peter Jason in this because I thought he was sort of a nice little, I don't know, comic relief character. He was actually funny as opposed to.
Which was that? The older guy who was bouncing.
The Dr. Leahy. The
Trumpet,
the guy that
trumpet mouth guy.
Yeah.
Trumpet mouth, yeah.
And when he first walks in and he walks up to Victor Wong, and introduces himself, and Victor Wong says,
He just walks away.
We're doing it. He just walks away. Victor Wong just walks away. Peter Jason's like, I don't know if that was scripted or that was just.
It was not. It was not.
I don't.
He just walked away and left him stand. So that reaction was totally real.
That's funny. Yeah.
So yeah, he's still doing stuff. He's one of those guys that's got like I don't know, 250 credits or something. He's been in everything from, I think he said his first film was Rio Lobo.
Wow.
John Wayne, Howard Hawks' last film.
That's cool.
Way back when.
He's been in a few Carpenter movies.
Yeah, and after this was his first one, and after this, Carpenter used him a lot. He was in Village of the Damned, and I don't know what all else.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, this is to me like kind of the beginning of the end for Carpenter's. If I'm correct, it's like the last really. Well, no, I mean after this was They Live. Okay, They Live is a great movie, and we all love it. But boy, things just went downhill. I think In the Mouth of Madness is still good, but Village of the Damned, Memoirs of an Invisible Man, Escape from L.A., Ghosts of Frickin' Mars. Nothing. I don't know what happened.
I don't either.
It's a dramatic drop off, not a slow decline like you could say with Argento or anything.
I feel like he got so fed up with Hollywood and how that he just didn't care anymore. Because
I don't think his heart was in it.
Yeah, and he's one of the last guys that knows the language of film. If you know what I mean, he's he seems like way out of his time. As far as he knows what guys back in the 50s and the 40s did to make movies, and he sort of still incorporated things like that. And I think he just saw a lot of that just go by the wayside, and studio interference and loss of creative control just sort of made him.
Well, he's like a Renaissance guy almost in terms of filmmaking, right?
Yeah.
And I think he would not be a fan of the filmmaking of today. They talk about, wouldn't it be cool if they let so-and-so do a Marvel movie or something? And every now and then you hear someone, Carpenter's still alive. It's like, John Carpenter, I think, would hate making a movie the way movies are made today.
Yeah.
He said in this commentary that he really liked this film, and this was one of the few films where every single shot was intentional. and was trying to convey something.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I want you to know from this shot. This is what I want you to know from that shot.
Well, they were touching on so many ideas and concepts and stuff.
Yeah.
He kind of had to do that, and you couldn't stand still long enough to explain a lot of the things that they were talking about. You just had to kind of go with it, to keep the plot moving.
So I feel like we're, Chad, Bill, and I are all fanboying over John Carpenter, and Crystal, we're not letting you talk very much.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I love John Carpenter, obviously. I actually really liked Escape from LA. So
Really?
I do too.
Maybe I gotta watch it again. Maybe I gotta watch
need to
every
watch
Carpenter
that
movie
again.
twice. Yeah.
I think people get the wrong idea about Escape from LA, of what kind of movie it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably definitely the expectations, because I mean, it kind of it's cheesy for sure, but I dig it. So, I mean, John Carpenter's the man. I would love to see him do something, though.
Yeah, I think you hit on something true. Expectations can mess you up. I think one of the reasons I didn't love this movie when I first saw it is that it sounded to me, the description sounded so much like one of my favorite movies, Quatermass in the Pit.
Mm-hmm.
Which, it does have some, I can see why he was doing this as a tribute to Nigel Keel. The expectations, when you go in with something like that, then it goes in its own way. So maybe I do need to revisit Escape from LA, because I was going in thinking I really liked Escape from New York. I want the exact same thing, only different, and there's no way it was going to live up to that.
Escape from LA was pure satire.
Yeah,
it was just pure satire of everything.
Yeah. And I didn't get that, and I see that in hindsight, so I need to see it again. He did use a lot of names, though. So in this one, we've got Wyndham, that was named after John Wyndham, the British science fiction writer that wrote the books that Day of the Triffids and Village of the Damned are based on. What's another one that was in it? Well, I wondered about this. He doesn't say this. I didn't see this written anywhere, but the guy that gets killed by Alice Cooper, his name is Etchinson, and there was a horror writer that was doing short stories in the 80s that was pretty well known, but whether or not that's it or not, his name was just Etchison, though, not Etchinson.
Dennis and William Etchison, yeah.
I think there was a reference to the Neil building or something.
Yes, Neil Institute, I think. Yeah. So that goes back to Nigel.
Now, apparently Nigel wasn't a fan of this movie, which is got to be a little upsetting that you make a movie as almost a tribute to him, and he wasn't too fond. I think this is a worthy. The Quatermass films were intelligent science fiction within the genre, and I think this was an attempt to do the same kind of thing. Give the audience some credit.
So, who wants to explain Martin Quatermass? I mean, I'm sure most of the people that are watching this already know, and it even says it on IMDb now. But
it was Hammer. Hammer Films did some where they're famous for their horror, but they also did some science fiction. And Quatermass, or as he was known for me, Quatermass, up until Jerry Chandler told me otherwise, gently, and not at all gently. He was a scientist who there was a series of films where he was the main character. And the Creeping Unknown, I think, was one of them.
Yeah.
Creeping
Unknown.
X the Unknown in British. There were a few just really good films. And Quatermass in the Pit, or what was it called here? 5 Million Years.
5 Million Years to Earth. Yeah.
Oh man, what a movie! What a great movie! Just one of my all-time favorites. Super intelligent, dealing with
it's
man, the origin of man, the devil, everything. Good stuff.
The Creeping Unknown is the one that was Quatermass 2, I think. The X the Unknown is a totally different one with it's not as good.
Oh, okay.
If I'm getting it right.
No, I think you are right. That sounds about right.
Geez, Chad. I was gonna ask you. He's buzzing. Well, okay, so
now he's digging.
I was gonna name my his computer.
I just took over Chad's place here.
Yeah, his computer battery died. So very
Oh,
quickly,
no.
you guys have a very quick decision. We can do. I get the next pick, and I've got two choices, and I think I know which one you'll pick. But either Michael Suave's The Church, or the original The Queen of Black Magic from like 1981.
Oh.
Just popped on Shudder.
I'm down with either one, actually.
Have you seen that one, Bill?
I have not. I haven't. In
It's
fact,
pretty-
it's been so long since I've seen The Church. I'm not even sure I'm thinking of the right film.
Well,
Is the Church
let's do The
also the
Church.
sect, or is the sect different from the Church?
That's a good
I don't
question.
know why that sounds so funny.
So,
But I like Michael
need to
Soavi. I mean, that's good stuff. Michael Soavi made some good films.
Well, I like The Church. I've only seen it once, but I'll check into that. So, any quick last comments? Anything we haven't said that
I think
needs to
if
be
Chad
said?
were here, he would say, "I'm glad I picked this film. It's definitely one of Carpenter's best, and bears up under repeated viewing. You may decide that you actually." Well, I think I'll let Bill talk, because I think Bill really knows how to put into words what I find myself just unable to say. And I really was surprised how much I liked this film more than I thought I was going to like it. And that has happened a few times in the past. I thought the same thing. This is one of the reasons why I love doing this podcast. Like when they had me watch Carrie, I knew I liked Carrie. I always had a good time with Carrie, but watching it after so many years again, I was like, this film is really well put together. It's firing on all cylinders. It's good in every way a film can be good. And this one really struck me as being much better than its reputation, and much better than its reputation in my own mind. So I'm glad that we did this one.
Crystal, any?
No, me
final
too. I
thoughts?
agree. I guess maybe, like I said, this isn't my favorite of his, but I really like it. I think any John Carpenter fan will enjoy this film. I mean, it's got its flaws, but it's nothing too bad. And it is kind of cool. It's definitely got its cool moments. And I feel like I need to watch it even one more time, because I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what it's got a little lack of luster for me that just doesn't live up to, some of his other movies, but I can't quite pinpoint what that is.
Well, I can see that, because that's kind of the way I felt, and it's weird. It's kind of like Bill. I think every time I watch it, it gets a little better.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah,
a little more. But anyway, and this is part of. You guys kind of brought it up. It's part of the loosely based apocalypse trilogy.
Now, what are the three films in the trilogy?
Well, The Thing, Prince of Darkness, and what's the one with Sam? You guys
In the Mouth of Madness?
In the Mouth of Madness. Yeah, that's.
So he doesn't include They Live in the Apocalypse trilogy, although.
No.
Because then it would be 4 films and it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we need to get going. So again, that's it for this episode. Every 2 weeks, we'll be focusing on a specific film released between 1980 and 1989. Next week, we're going to do The Church. From off the top of my head, I'm going to say 1989. I'm not sure that's right. From Michael Suavi. Make sure you join us for that one. Stay in touch. Leave feedback at gruesomemagazine.com, or also be sure to like, subscribe, make comments, get notifications, all that stuff on YouTube and Patreon. Hey, we got some cool Patreon benefits. Go to our Patreon page and check out the levels. The only one I know for sure is Decades of Horror. You get 2 weeks early.
Oh, and then you get cool photos of.
Oh, you get
you
get cool photos of. Well,
what?
Catch us again. Catch us again here in 2 weeks for another great horror movie of the 1980s, as only Decades of Horror can do it.
Totally.
Say good night.
Good night.
Good night, folks. Chad says good night.
Good night.